Good morning, my lovely friends all across the world. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you're having a lovely day so far. Bright and early 7 a.m. Got my coffee, got my charts. I'm ready to go. Yesterday was a doozy, but we're moving on. Today's a new day, so do not let the other days affect your trading or put any weight onto your day. We have PPI today for the US dollar. I don't really care about it. We have unemployment claims, but look, here's the thing: is it's not going to be like CPI. I'm going to trade before it. I'll trade after. I'm not going to be in a trade during it unless I have profit. Unless I'm in profit. However, it's not going to be like CPI, where it's like, hey, we got to stay out. We can't trade before, can't trade after it. It is what It's not. We already had CPI out of the way, so not a big deal. Not worried about it. Just keep in mind, though, we do have that at 8:30. 9 a.m., we have Bank of Canada's governor speaking, if you're trading the Canadian dollar. Yeah, and that's it. So, pretty clean day ahead of us. Should be some clean price action. Markets are slightly up. Not much. But let's take a look at the Dixie. Because yesterday, finally, we had a nice move, and hopefully it's a move that drives us out of this range. The CPI sent the Dixie down to the bottom of this support zone. So it's really just, if we can close finally out of this range and start moving down, I don't care where we go. The dollar just needs to get out of this range. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we are now approaching the bottom end of this channel. Taking a look at current price action, we had this pretty strong 4-hour candlestick push down through these lows. And so now we got to see, okay, are we going to continue down, or is this a liquidity grab to then continue back up, and we're pushing back in this range? We don't know yet, so stay tuned to find out. However, if you take a look at price action below this 101.5, we had a nice liquidity grab here prior in beginning of February, and then we shot higher. We're now dumping below this area again. So, I think we can get a continued sell-off with this liquidity grab, as long as we remain below 101.5. So the level to watch today to determine if we're playing buys or sells is going to be 101.5. Sitting right on top of this channel, so we'll see if this gives us some buying pressure or not. I'm not too worried about the channel because more importantly, we're sitting below this area of support. What about GBP JPY? Stay tuned, because in the next maybe 10 minutes I'll be going over pound yen. Taking a look at equities, US30. Let's hop on the daily chart. Remove some of this. We're pretty good. We just retested the upper end of this channel here, this resistance that we've been rejecting since December. Yesterday closed bearish with a nice rejection wick, and so is this an area? But keep in mind, this level zone channel, whatever, you typically never just see one candlestick rejected, right? I mean, we've had 3 candlestick rejections here. You had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had a bunch right here. You had 2 right here. So, now it's not to say that we can't just start dumping from here. But ideally, what we get is maybe one last wick before we start dumping. But we'll see. Let's take a look at the lower time frames. Regardless, this area here is an area I'd like to see sells on US30. So let's hop on the lower time frames and maybe see if we can get a better idea of price action. So we have these lows that we're sitting right on top of, where we've had some prior rejection. We're now sitting right on top of that. So maybe this gives us enough support to push higher, and then we continue down. Taking a look at the 1 hour chart. So look in this prior area. Keeping an eye on this prior pivot point here, this rejection area. I already have it drawn, 33,843. That's going to be an area to watch. If we can break through that, then we're going to want to look at this 34,000 on the dot. Alrighty, so yesterday we had a lot of rejection from the CPI. As you can see, we had a lot of wicks, a lot of rejection here. Pretty strong bearish volume coming into play. Now sitting right below this prior support, which is where CPI was bouncing in between. Finding some exhaustion here, bearish engulfing. So maybe we don't continue up and we start heading down. Let's take a look a little lower on the time frames. 30-minute chart. You have your resistance sitting right at 33,700. You have your support. Let's kind of make the support a little tighter in here. You have prior support sitting right at 33,500. Yeah, so too early to trade this for me. I'm not trading until volume time. However, if you were to say, you know, what's the price look like? You know, what's it look like it's going to happen? Well, we broke through these lows. Nice bearish push. Found some resistance of VWAP. Came back to retest this resistance. So sells look decent back down to 33.5 currently. And then, you know, if we are to get down there, you know, what do we do? We find some support? You know, do we then maybe buy off of this for a move back up to resistance? Do we wait for a break below? If that's the case and we're looking for sells, then you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on this rejection here and then this rejection here. So let's see. These are the next rejection points you want to watch if you're looking for sells, clearly. That's why I'm waiting to trade on high volume time, because if we trade during high volume time and we break these lows, it's going to push most likely right through this area, probably down to this next volume node here. So we're going to keep an eye on sells below 33,582 and buys above 33,700. However, I will entertain buys if we're sitting down at this range here come 9 o'clock. So we'll see what happens. We're in the middle of this range here, so I'm not trading it. But it looks like it wants to start pushing lower down to this support at the moment. US 500, let's take a look at US 500, see what's going on the charts here. Let's remove all drawings. Rejected this resistance from prior areas yesterday during CPI. Also finding some support. So we're back in this volume node. And I talked about this before, right? Is this area, you can expect some consolidation because you had consolidation here, a little bit of consolidation here. Now we're in consolidation again. So this area you should have anticipated was going to be an area of consolidation. And so looking at the daily chart currently, you had yesterday's CPI wick reject this entire area, closed bearish. But we're at support here with prior rejection. So do we head back up or do we break support and head down? Let's take a look at lower time frames to see if it's indicating any type of pattern here. So yesterday's move dropped off pretty heavy. Let's hop to the 1 hour, look at more details. We are finding higher lows currently. So, we're in this mini channel here. It's not perfect because, you know, you've had price break through it before. However, it does respect it pretty well on both sides. So we're in this little mini channel for the S&P. So we just came down and rejected this bottom end of the channel overnight. Had a nice push up, supporting VWAP now. So maybe the S&P gets a little bit of a bid. Let's hop on down to the 30-minute. So you have resistance sitting right at 4,100. That's going to be the main area to watch to see if we can get a push through. Support. I mean, current support for the day is pretty much where it's at, right? Right in here, you have 40.92. So we're in this mini range because you have this is clean. This is clean enough price action to where if we break these lows, pretty clean to where we should be able to head down, back down to retest maybe this trend line here, get a higher low. I'm not going to trade right now. Obviously, it's only 7:12. However, we'll see where we're at. If we are at these highs at 4,100. Do we break for a push higher? Do we find some type of resistance for then a potential continuation back down, you know, to support like this? Not sure yet, so we're just going to watch these zones here and see what happens as we get closer to volume time. But we're definitely going to watch support at 40.93 and resistance at 41.02. But it looks like at the moment, it wants to catch a little bit of a bid. We're back above VWAP, and it wants to push a little higher. Seems like it just wants to chop around in this range for now. Looking at US 100, the NASDAQ. Came up, rejected this prior point of resistance here. CPI had a nice rejection wick close. Pretty strong bearish with no bottom wick. Little tiny bottom wick actually, sitting right on top of support at 12,828. Hop down the 4-hour chart. We are creating these lower highs, so wedging in here against 12,800. Flagging at these lows. Sitting right on top of VWAP, and NASDAQ looks like it wants to get a push out of here, so we're flagging right on top of 12,900, also right on top of this 50 EMA, creating these higher lows. So it looks like it wants to get a nice push out of here. If we do get push out of here, we're going to want to keep an eye on this 12,983. And the next day, just to keep an eye on is the 50% of that CPI move. So there's 3 levels that you want to watch for the CPI from CPI yesterday. Following the next day, it's going to be the 50% of the 15-minute move. So you want to watch this area, the low, the scene of the crime from where CPI started. So right here, and then the high. So these 3. Get rid of this. These 3 pink lines here are going to be potential areas of resistance today, playing off of CPI's levels from yesterday. However, NASDAQ not looking as clean as S&P and the Dow, so probably on the lower bottom of my list with indices, but it is looking nice at the moment. Little choppy from CPI yesterday. Don't have much of a range compared to the others. Pretty clean price action on the Dow and S&P. Let's take a look at metals. Gold. So daily chart. Closed bullish with a wick rejection of 2025 yesterday. Currently pushing higher with a tiny bottom wick. Going down to the 4-hour. 4-hour, very choppy from CPI yesterday. Let's go down the 1 hour. So we have resistance sitting at 2029. So these three, or I guess these 4 lines here are levels back from prior highs. If you go back to, it's right here, back from 2022 of March 2022, back when we were at these highs. You have let's say the most significant areas, right? So this prior area of support and resistance on both sides, this area of support right here, area of support, and then area of resistance, right? So I have a few lines drawn from this area because that's the most recent price action that we can go base levels off of. And so we're sitting right below this rejection point, this 2030 area where we've rejected from CPI yesterday. Remember, I talked about keeping an eye on the high of CPI, the low, and the 50% area, which is somewhere around here. So these are the levels you want to watch for gold, and we're rejecting the high right now. So ideally, look, I want to play buys. I mean, we've been bullish. We're extremely strong. And if we can come back down to retest the VWAP, retest this breakout, retest this CPI level, this rejection, you know, this whole 2021, which was an area I showed you back in March of last year. This is a strong area. I'd like us to gold to come back, retest, and then I'll look for longs off of that, off of VWAP for a push higher towards like 2030 to 2032, to 2038 potentially, somewhere through these highs. But you know, maybe we don't get it. Who knows? So what I'm going to look for is if we get a break and close above this whole 2028 to 2029 area. Then I'll look for some longs. If we can get a nice pullback towards 2021, I'll look for longs for a push higher. I'm not going to take these shorts. I'm not going to try to. I don't like taking I don't like taking shorts for then the long, and I don't like double dipping like that. And I'm just going to wait for the longs because we are bullish right now, and buys are in play. So I'm not going to scalp these shorts. So what I'm going to do is just wait for the longs and see if we can get it. Right now we're just ranging, so no trade yet. What do you think about gold with the news today? I think down movement. I don't know. I guess we'll see, right? Price action pays. I'm not in the game of guessing, right? So what I can tell you is it's not going to be as important today because CPI already got out of the way. So we already know what happened with CPI. I don't really care what happens, to be honest. I'm just going to play off of whatever happens. Price action pays. I'm hoping we get something like, down then up. That would be ideal. But I don't know. Who knows? I guess we'll see. So we'll see. I'm just not playing this range. Going to wait for some kind of breakout one way or the other. Taking a look at oil today. Oil's pretty strong. Daily close bullish outside of this consolidation. So finally, buys are now solid and in play. Not taking sells above 83 or I guess 82.50. Definitely not taking sells. Taking a look at the 4-hour. After this accumulation, CPI sent oil rallying out of this range above resistance. And so now taking a look at the 1 hour. This zone here is the prior highs of this consolidation you can see in here. So this is where I'd like to see oil maintain price action above. I'm really not sure if you go down to the 15-minute maybe. Here's an area maybe you could make it a little more clear. I'd want to see it maintain price action above this 82.60. You see it push down into here and then push higher. But maybe we get a day of rest after a strong day yesterday. Who knows? But dude, if you be patient, I'm going over pound yen. I told you I would go over pound yen. Remember, patience is a virtue in trading. And how you are in life is how you will be on the chart. So if you can't be patient enough to watch a couple analyses before I get to pound yen, then I promise you it will show. It will show into your trading results. So please be patient. Anyways, oil. Looking for longs off this support at 82.64, but kind of a choppy of a range, so not a huge fan of it. And last but not least, here's your pound yen. So pay attention. Only going over it once. Daily chart. Bullish. Indecision pushing bullish again into this rejection wick. However, now that we're above this significant area of rejection here, and here, it seems like we have some bullish momentum with us on pound yen. 4-hour chart. CPI sent us lower yesterday, bullish engulfing. So as long as we maintain price action above 166.250, we're good for some buys. So let's go down the 1 hour to see if we can find a better idea. Let's go left and look at price action in this area. Pretty choppy. We have 166.830 as a rejection point for pound yen to the upside. Once we break through here, then you're going to want to look around right around this zone at 167.200. So maybe we just go, hey, let's go to 167 even. Whoops. 167. Go for that whole number. Yeah, we'll go 167, and that's going to be the main idea for rejection to the upside. Downside rejection is going to be 166, right? So in between this range here is where you see most of your price action gravitate towards. You have price action, right? All of this rejection in this same area here. So you're seeing it bounce back and forth between 166 and 167. And so looking at current price action, then you haven't quite reached 167 after leaving 166. So it's likely that we're going to do something like this. It's typically how pound yen works. We are creating these higher lows. Creating these higher lows. Just broke through resistance here. So ideally we find some support. Where's my tool? Right in this zone here. So VWAP, the moving average, this trend line here. This is where I'd like to take a buy for a push higher, something like this. Just grab some liquidity, bait some people in on the longs right here. Come back and then continue. Right, so that's ideally what we'll get. If I do take a long against here, I'll wait for a bullish close. So right, so once I get that bullish close, I'm going to take a long, stop below maybe around 166. Whoops. Maybe around 166, 225 area, right in this zone here. And then we'll look for a push towards 167. It'll be around a 2.5 to 1. Not too bad, but we'll see what price action gives us. I'm either going to place my stops below this low, or if we can find like a solid support here, I'll put my stops below this low. So we'll see what we get. So looking for longs. Shorts for me, it's just way too choppy for shorts. We're way too bullish. Like, we're extremely bullish here the last 2 weeks maybe. So I'm not sure I want to take sells unless we can actually break structure. However, even if we break structure, it's still very, very choppy. I mean, you have support, A lot of just rejection. A lot of just, it's very, very choppy in here for shorts. There's really no clean move. I mean, you could look for something. And even then, I wouldn't like shorts until we get below 166, because that's an area that we've seen very, very heavily be a magnet as far as, okay, buyers, 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 buyers. And then once you get below, you get a retest and then sell. So sells are definitely not in play unless we can break below 166. We get below 166, then I might entertain something like this, because it's clean enough if we're in a volume time. But you know, that would require us to drop 56 pips and then another, you know, 56 pips. So it's possible, but it would require, you know, some kind of volume or news. So my idea will be like this for pound yen. Longs at support here unless we get below 166. So that's it for me today. I'm gonna go trade with my guys on Zoom. If you're looking to trade live with us, vanttradingforex.com. Gonna knock out this challenge, get funded. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Safe trading, and I will see you next week. It's Thursday, right? Yeah, so have a great rest of your weekend, guys. And yeah, see you later.